And now, once again, from our BioLife Plasma Services family interview area, we say hello to Joni Smith.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to have 3 members of the Plowman family here. How many members are there altogether? 8 children. And you were able to get here this morning from Toma. Congratulations. Thanks for getting up and out of the house. Jesse is with us today. And Jesse, before we get to his story, he had a big day in school yesterday.
Yes, he did.
What happened? Tell us what happened.
A couple of things. Jesse first started talking his first words a couple of months ago. And yesterday he said another new word, and that was hug. And he actually reached out to give a hug. And so that was very exciting.
He's giving Dad a hug right now.
Yes, he is.
And Jesse is 12 years old. And take us back to the beginning of his journey and your story together.
Jesse was born a very perfect, healthy baby boy. And at 3.5 months, he was violently shaken. And we were doing foster care at the time. And they called and asked if we would take his placement. And we picked him up, actually from Gunderson. Looked totally perfect. A lot of times, shaken children, there's no outward signs. We really didn't see anything wrong with him until about 6 months of age. Signs started to show, other than the initial MRI, which showed global brain damage, the front, the back, both sides. And that we saw initially at the 3 months when we first took him in. And it was not till 6 months that we saw what that was causing. He started to have seizures, and we would see clusters of 50 at a time.
50 seizures?
50 seizures, one right after another at 6 months of age. All we could do was hold him, and a lot of times we cried holding him because it was very hard to see, but being so tiny, he was on 2 medications, but they were not strong enough to stop the seizures.
Did it make you two feel out of control? That you weren't able to help more?
Definitely. At one point, they showed us on paper the EEG, and it looked like you had a handful of pens and just went up and down on a piece of paper, and it was his brain giving out a seizure every second, even though it didn't show up on that we saw it. He actually was having a seizure every second.
When he was a little guy and going through those seizures, were you able to close your eyes and sleep at night?
Yeah, we did. It was not always easy.
Were you worried about going out to doctor appointments? Were you worried about the transportation portion of it and him having an episode in the car? I mean, what did you have a plan for all of this?
Definitely watched him a lot. You know, we had the extra mirrors in the car, you know, that you could see in the back, or someone with us. Mm-hmm. He didn't roll over when he should have. He didn't sit up when he should have. Everything was delayed greatly. He finally sat up at 1 year old. He had sensory issues. You couldn't touch him. He didn't start to walk until he was almost 2, and then it wasn't a regular walk. It was a very straight-legged walk. As he got older, he had, I think we counted 7 different types of seizures, and he had to wear a helmet with a face guard because of the drop seizures, he would fall and hit things. And once with those, he hit the floor so hard it literally cracked open the helmet. But Jesse's always been a champion, a fighter, always been happy throughout all of his struggles. He's just been, I'm going to try. When he couldn't sit up, he would keep trying to sit up and keep trying to sit up. I've never seen anyone of any age work so hard at trying to do something and just keep trying to figure it out and go after it. And he still does that today. And obviously that's why he's still succeeding today. We've been told by one of his teachers that he has the mind of an engineer, just the way he figures things out. And we've seen it. We've seen him, you almost see him think sometimes. He, a very smart little boy.
Your support system seems to be really in place in your household. You seem to have, he has a very protective older brother.
Yeah.
Now, when Jesse came into your household and the older he gets, how has your dynamics, how is the chaos in your house? How does that change? We just go from day to day?
Everybody kind of just
Give Dad the mic there a minute.
everybody just really knows, his life and who he is and what has to happen for him, and they look out for him. And we know, you don't live just by sight; you live by what you hear too. There's certain sounds you listen for. If it's really quiet, you worry. And so you think, why isn't there more noise? Because he has so many toys and stuff. But also certain voice things he does. You can tell when he's happy. You can tell when he's distressed. And all the kids, everybody's tuned in because it's every day. So we're all there.
Had you heard of Children's Miracle Network hospitals before Jesse came along? When did you find out about them? Do you remember?
Not before that. No, our son, who works for Walmart, was a coordinator at the DC in Toma. And Dave told us about it because we were some needs we were talking about. And he said he'll check into it. And that's where we found out, and that's when it started. I think it was the iPad. Was it the first thing we got from them?
The iPad
I'm not sure.
was
there
yeah.
was an iPad that they helped us get because of his sensory needs and his learning needs. The things they can put on an iPad are incredible, and he loves it, and he reacts to it very well. It's helped him tremendously.
It's amazing the different families that we talk to. Every story is different, but every story has the same theme. The theme is you don't expect it to happen to you. You didn't expect Jesse to come into your lives, although I get this feeling that you are grateful every day that Jesse is in your lives. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
I can feel that from sitting over here. So what happens is people at home who may not have had any way of knowing exactly what Children's Miracle Network hospitals can do, coming in here, sharing the stories, and knowing that there is a need. We don't even know what the need would be. That it just seems to be so different. But the bottom line is, when people are calling, giving the generosity of their heart at 781-1477, calling in with the pledges, do you know something? Since you 3 have been sitting over here on this couch, we already have 5 calls that have come in.
That's awesome.
That is because you're taking the time today, getting out of the house, which we know isn't easy to do. We get that. And here you are. And with Jesse sitting here, we've already had 5 people give from the generosity of their heart. And talking about giving, you are the most giving family that I think that we've ever met. And it's just incredible. And I can say that because when you had everybody together, and we were together earlier this summer, and through the Oktoberfest parade, we were talking about that, the lacrosse radio group teaming up with Children's Miracle Network hospitals and taking you through the Maple Leaf Parade.
Yeah.
First time for the Maple Leaf Parade for your family?
Yeah, it's quite an event.
Yeah, there's a few people out there, isn't there? Well, we must have some Oktoberfesters because we got another call that just came in. So, the reason that we like to do that is there's some people along that parade route that don't know about Children's Miracle Network hospitals, but they know at the end of the parade.
That's right.
They know. So anything else to add here today? I just have had the best time talking to you. What if somebody's sitting on the fence and trying to decide to give to Children's Miracle Network Hospital? What do you think you'd say to them?
Absolutely give. Every single penny that you give goes out to children in need, and it stays local. Not a dime goes for any overhead, and everything that we asked for in need, we were given. And this little guy deserved, in our heart and mind, everything that he got. In our home, he's the little king, and he never should have suffered what he suffered. And I don't think any children, whether it's a health issue that they were born with or an accident or anything, should have to struggle. And when you have a healthy life, you're really blessed, and some people take it for granted. And whether it's change you give at a store when there's a donation or you call in with something, you're blessing children like Jesse or some of the other that are going to come and tell their story, it all makes a difference and it all adds up. $5, $10, $100, whatever you can give, it's going to add up. And it makes a difference in the lives of the children and their family.
The impact of Jesse's story is really great. We've already had another call. We were searching for 10 calls while you've been visiting with us. We're almost there. We're at 7 or 8 calls at this point. 781-1477 is the number. 1-800-853-6889. Paul, you have something to add?
There are kids out there who have wonderful parents, but they have special needs. And insurances and personal finances, they do the best they can, but sometimes there are gaps of things that they need or things that they can have that will make their lives better or help them learn better or get around better. Children's Miracle Network is that bridge for a lot of these things for these kids. And that's just why it's called Children's Miracle Network, because there are times where the parents want to give up, the parents don't know what to do, and this group of people, this great program helps those kids get those things. And we appreciate everybody that can give. And if you are sitting on the fence, get off and give.
I can't think of any other way to end it than that. Thank you for taking the time. Love you guys. It's been a pleasure to get to know your family. We'll have more times to visit together down the line. I know we do. Jesse, say hi to Pete the cat, okay? Pete the cat, you know, grandmas and grandpas and moms and dads, Pete the cat is a huge thing. Pete the cat has taken over a lot of the extracurricular time with reading books because Pete is quite the cat. And I see it's one of Jesse's favorites. So thank you for bringing Pete the cat. He loves it. He's got a huge smile on his face. We know that guy. We know him very well. You're listening to the Children's Miracle Network Hospital Radiothon, a service of the La Crosse Radio Group.